So welcome all of you for the evening session, the Raksha Bandhan special event, the Yoga Bhatti for next 3 hours. And we are very fortunate that Sister Aruna Ladwa from Kuwait has joined us. So thank you so much and welcome Aruna Didi to the event. So let's move on with the event. You all know Raksha Bandhan is a very auspicious event. It's being celebrated worldwide. And for Brahma Kumaris, it's a very special event on which today Didi will be throwing a lot of light on. And actually, Aruna's sister doesn't need any introduction. She's not new to our Values for Life series events because she has a couple of times she has taken a few workshops with us on 2 different values as well. But for people who don't know that she's a regular blogger, she's an author, and she's associated with Brahma Kumari since more than almost 37 years now. And she's got this perfect blend of East and West. Let me just say a few words about her in the form of a poem, which I have started doing of late. So Aruna's sister will today show us the light and might by churning with her divine insight. That how do we make ourselves more and more bright and set once again all the things upright. So through her light and might and her churning of divine insight, she'll make us help in our journey to become more and more bright and set once again all the things upright. So with this, I would like to welcome her. And we have with us our beautiful sister Reena joining from Delhi. So I told Sister Aruna that we'll be giving you a very pleasant surprise. So I'm sure Sister Aruna has guessed what it is. So I would request Reena Behan to do the needful, the next inaugural things for Sister Aruna. Over to you, Reena Behan.
Thank you so much, Manoj Bhai. And from Baba, from the whole Brahmin family, a very, very warm welcome and Abhinandan to our sister Aruna Ben. Didi, please accept our welcome. Words are very less, but it is all from the heart of everyone. And now, as our Brahmin culture is, and as we are going to do the same in the coming golden age, that we are going to welcome each other with a beautiful tilak. So this is a beautiful tilak from whole of the Brahmin family again. And Baba is putting this tilak of success onto your forehead. And this tilak of success is for each one of us as well. That you are always going to be successful in all the seva you take over. And now we go further. Again, a rehearsal for the golden age. And this is a beautiful festival for Raksha Bandhan. So this is a beautiful Rakhi, especially from Baba. So I put it quite near, especially from Baba, especially from the Brahmin family, from the whole Vancouver team, and the whole Brahmin family of this whole globe. And now Baba is directly tying you Rakhi. Didi, put your hand forward. Baba is directly tying you Rakhi on your hand, and again Baba has made you your right hand. So Didi is the right hand for Baba, and obviously we are also tagged along with you. And next, Mukh Meetha, that is the sweet tooth. So these are the beautiful and very juicy and delicious fruits for you, because in golden age we all are going to have the natural things. So this is called Babu Gosha. And I don't know what we call this in Hindi. I think peach or something else. So this is for you, Didi. Thank you from each one of us.
Is it a pear? A pear, no?
It's a pear, yeah. It's a pear, yeah.
And a little bit of apple for you. But it's not that I'm the one, the whole Brahmin family is giving you. And a little bit of pomegranate also. Little bit.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And now, I think I'm beginning to feel that as if I'm in the golden age from all of us. And these are the beautiful flowers from Baba's garden for you. Welcome, Didi.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
And the most important part. This is my favorite because I like the blessing cards. So this is a beautiful blessing card for you from Baba. And you can see yourself sitting here in the canopy of Shiv Baba, and the whole responsibility of the whole culprit on you and again on each one of us. And this is the Sundar Vardhan from Baba. And I will read out for you that सेकंड में संकल्पों को स्टॉप कर अपने फाउंडेशन को मजबूत बनाने वाले आप पास विद ऑनर हो. You are a pass with honor soul who can stop the inflow of thoughts in a second, and your pillar is very, very, very strong. So once again, welcome Didi. Om Shanti and a beautiful Raksha Bandhan to you from all of us, from the whole Brahmin family. Om Shanti. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So sweet. And all the effort that you put to gather all this. Thank you. Very lovely. Very touching.
So wonderful, lovely, huh? It's a surprise for me as well. And I think Aruna Didi will give us a surprise maybe towards the end of the talk, right? That's what you said. Maybe.
If you say it, it's no surprise.
Okay, no worries. So we'll start, and we also have later joining with us Sudesh Didi from London. So both of the sisters will be covering on the spiritual significance of Raksha Bandhan, and also about a very dear Dadi Prakashmani. Her Avyak Divas is coming soon, close by, around 25th of August. So they'll be also sharing their fond memories which they had with Dadi Prakashmani. So it will be a mix and match of both these talks on and off in between. So with this, over to Aruna sister for the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj bhai. And thank you for the invitation. And hello and Om Shanti to everyone. Maybe let's just have 30 seconds of silence and stillness. So we just prepare the mind, the intellect, and the heart to receive some thoughts. Om Shanti. So this is one of my favorite festivals, the festival of Rakhi, festival of Raksha Bandhan. I think we have quite a few English people, so I will explain as well in English. So Raksha actually means protection, and Bandhan means actually bond, or as we say, bondage, or the bond of protection, it's translated as. And although it sounds like perhaps, suffocating, but it's actually very liberating. Because when we have this canopy of protection over us all the time, then there is a sense of being able to do whatever we want when we want. And that's the sense of freedom, liberation. So in a worldly sense, Raksha Bandhan is, as we said, this Rakhi. There is a Rakhi, which is this, and the thread, which it's all called Rakhi, but this is the main part in the middle, and this is normally put onto the right hand, the right wrist, and then it is tied, and normally it is the sister that ties the Rakhi to the brother. And as the sister ties the Rakhi, then the brother is promising to take care of the sister, to protect the sister all the time. And if you think about it, it's only in this relationship of sister and brother that you can feel this sense of real protection and eternal protection, eternal in a worldly sense, which is still limited because we will leave this body, we will die. But for as long as we're in this body and we're connected with blood, then yes, the brother promises to take care of the sister, unless of course there's some feud in between. And this is not the same for a relationship with husband and wife. The husband might say, I will take care of you, I will protect you, but it's never guaranteed. But with this blood connection, there is a greater guarantee that the brother will protect you. But if we now take this even onto another higher level, then we are actually tying ourselves to God, right? So now we put the Rakhi this way. And so this is me and this is God. And then I am connecting with God. And as I connect with God, that is my knot, right? That is my knot, the tying. And what I'm really saying is, I belong to you, you belong to me. And for as long as I believe in you, trust in you, follow you, then I am guaranteed that protection from God. But again, it's me. I have to take that first step of accepting, acknowledging, and believing in God and having that faith and that trust. Because if you think about it, why God should not protect all the 8 billion souls? He should, right? All of them are God's children. So why should God not help every single one? But God helps those who, as we say in Christianity, God helps those who help themselves. So when we take that step of courage towards God and we turn our attention to him, which is this link. Actually, yoga is communion. Yoga is communication. Yoga means to yoke, to connect. So when I turn my mind's attention to God, then God's light also focuses on me. And this is the feeling of protection. This is a feeling that I'm feeling personally, directly, that God is taking care of me. God is looking after me. Now, why isn't it that everybody feels this feeling? Many times what happens is that we carry a guilty conscience. We carry a heavy conscience because of the sins that we've committed. And so then it's even difficult to look at God. It's even difficult to take God's light. So first of all, yeah, we need to clear ourselves of this. And this is where the aspect of purity comes in. If you think about this relationship between brother and sister, we call it a very pure relationship. The brother doesn't have any, feelings of impurity, promiscuity, anything like that. He sees the sister as a sister with a pure vision. And so think about it. When the soul is just a soul, it doesn't have a gender. The soul is not male or female. The soul is actually genderless. But when we speak for sake of language, then we say he. But it can be she. It doesn't have a gender. So that's why we say soul brothers or, bhai band, or we say brotherhood, because as souls, we are all brothers. And there is this feeling that we are all the children of the one God. So I want to talk a little bit about this power of purity. We actually call it the power of purity. And power of purity is not just celibacy, it's not just brahmacharya. But power of purity means, can I at all times maintain the highest, purest vision for every soul? Yes, even the one that seems to be difficult. Can I look beyond their part, their role, their body, their sanskars, my karma with them? And can I see through all that and try to see the beautiful soul that's behind all that? Because deep down, actually, each soul is pure and perfect. But what happens is, as we come through this journey of life, of karma, then what happens is that we get colored, we get tainted, we become rusty. It's like the diamond that is covered in mud. So if I gave you a diamond that was slightly covered in mud, you would still want the diamond, right? Because you know that you can wash off the mud, right? It's still got value. A diamond is still a diamond, even when it's covered in mud. And so really every single soul has value. And when I start to give them that respect through my vision of soul consciousness, this is pure vision. In Hindi we say, right, Saaf Nazar. Even in Arabic, actually, same. So this is the kind of pretext that we need to create before we interact with other people. First, let me see them as a soul, and let me see them as my soul brother. Because if your brother had some defect, if your brother had committed some crime, do you go and tell everybody about it? Or do you try and hush it? So when I start to think that really this is a member of my family, then I try to maintain the highest level of respect, even though I know they have the weakness, but in front of others, I will always try to shine the best light about them. So think about it. When I'm seeing that one with this pure vision, who do I become? When you start praising somebody, then you are greater for it, right? You look good when you're praising somebody else. They are already looking good, but you too will be respected when you praise somebody else. But when you criticize somebody else, what happens? People will say, look at her, see, all she knows is how to criticize, even though you're justified, and even though this person may not be, good. But you will be the one that looks bad. So why should I do this to myself? But anyway, the crux of the matter is, why should I hold this impurity in me? Because as soon as I see the defect of somebody, that makes me polluted, that makes me impure. So I might say, yes, they have this, they have that weakness. But if I'm seeing it, that means that my vision is impure. They've got the dirt, but I'm making my vision even dirtier by focusing on it and looking at it. So this is what I mean about purity. Purity is much more than just brahmacharya. If you look at sages and sadhus, and even, well, for some time, the priests of the West, I mean, they are worshipped, they are praised. Why? Because of their purity, because they live celibate lives, because people know that this is a strength. It's not just the purity, but people know what it takes to be brahmacharya. So what they're really appreciating is the mental strength. And they, well, in past times anyway, they were trusted. We can't say that now so much, but in past times, if you were with some guru or sadhu, you could trust them 100%, because their vision was elevated for you. It was a pure vision for you. And if you think about it, they put the deities in the temple, but they put the heroes in the museum. The hero who's gone to battle, who's gone to war, who however many lands he's conquered, he will not be put in a temple. It is the deities that are pure. It's because of their purity that they are put into the temple. So they can be praised, but they cannot be worshipped. Whereas it's the deities that are worshipped, and that's because of the purity. So purity is also our wealth. Why is it our wealth? Because, as I said, it gives value to our soul. And when I will share some stories about Dadi Kumarka, you will see. Her name was Kumarka Dadi, meaning the pure one. And so that is wealth, because when you have this purity, you have this power, and the power becomes your wealth. Everybody is looking for power these days, but they're all looking for it in the wrong places, and they're all looking for the wrong power. They're all looking for power over others, not power over themselves. And the ultimate power is power over myself. So when I am in control of my emotions, when I'm in control of my feelings, then I'm in my power. Okay, and I want to show you this. So it's a funny diagram, but just a little visual. So basically, when I get emotional, okay? So for example, emotion could be anger, it could be lust, it could be ego, it could be greed, right? Jealousy. When I'm at the height of that emotion, right? So this is normality here. But then I get mad, or I get lustful, or I get very arrogant, right? Then I'm the furthest away from my discrimination power. You see that? My logic, my discrimination, my reasoning. There's a big gap between that height of emotion and my ability to reason. And that's why a lot of crimes are committed in the heat of the moment, because at that time one doesn't realize what they're doing. So when I'm in my power, in my powerful state, then I'm not emotional, okay? I am pretty much, level-headed, level temperament. I'm in control of my feelings, and so the emotion and the reasoning are pretty much together, right? And that's the power of purity. Because I'm thinking pure thoughts, there is clarity in my head. There's also clean feelings in my heart. And so if there's only goodness in your heart, then what kind of decision will you make? Only a good one. Because that's where it's coming from. The pure heart, right? Like we say in Hindi, right? Shubh bhavna, shubh kamna. So when my heart is filled with good wishes and pure feelings, then when I'm squeezed, right, that's what will come out. Like you squeeze an orange and you get orange juice. So if my heart is absolutely pure, then no matter what is the reflex, then only purity can come out. So some of you must have seen this WhatsApp. I mean, it goes around from time to time, but it's going around again. And it's the example of the person is holding a coffee cup, right? A cup filled with coffee. And They're just standing there talking to somebody. Somebody from behind comes and pushes them. And when they are pushed, this person spills the coffee. And they start blaming the other person that pushed them. Okay? What would have happened if his coffee cup was empty? Would he have got equally as mad? No. What if he wasn't holding a cup? What if the cup didn't fall? So the moral of the story is that we have our cups full, and in this case, it's here, right? Our head or our heart is filled with stuff. And so when somebody bumps into us, then that's what spills over. And then we get mad at them. But what if he had water in his cup? Then he wouldn't be as mad, right? Because there's not that much damage done. So this is the point, that when I keep myself very clean, and then if something happens, what will be my response? My response will be only calmness, kindness, love, peace, truth. And then I am happy with myself. And that's the bottom line. I want to be pure and clean, not for others. I'm not doing you a favor when I am being polite and kind and loving. I'm not doing you a favor. I'm doing myself a favor. Because I don't want to put myself through that roller coaster of emotion. Actually, with this graph, actually what it is, it's escalation. Well, it's a trigger, right? Here there's a trigger, then there's escalation, then there's the peak and de-escalation, and then depression, right? This is actually the graph. And this you can apply to any emotion. So we don't want to go through that all the time, the highs and the lows. And so one of the ways is, yeah, just keep yourself clean from inside and out. Now, a few other things about Rakhi. So as you know, we talk about the protection part. So I always say that when we tie a seatbelt in the car, right, we don't always like it. We feel trapped. But what is it doing for us? It's protecting us. Right? We are strapped in, we feel we're tied in, but at the end, it's for our safety, it's for our protection. And so the same way that Lakshman, drew this circle, the Lakshman Rekha for Sita. And he said to her, look, for as long as you stay in this circle, you will be protected. But the moment you put your foot out of this circle, the protection will not be there anymore. The protection collapses. And so, of course, Ravan comes along, and then he grabs that moment, and the rest is Ramayana. So here too, what is that circle of protection? So circle of protection in a more very generic sense is for me to stay in my circle of virtues and values. Right? This is what this group is good for, right? The value series. If I can just stay always in my virtue state and not give in to the vice, then I'll be protected. And how does that work? Because when I'm planting those seeds of good deeds, then what am I reaping? Only goodness, right? If you're planting love, you're reaping love. If you're planting kindness, you're reaping kindness. If you plant hate, can you expect to get love? No. So when I am planting only the best, then I'm creating for myself this garden. And within this garden, I feel safe and secure. There's not the jungle of thorns where there's no light and I'm lost and there's nothing to eat. So by staying, right, in the protection of my virtue, and if you are always virtuous, then you can't go wrong. Okay, some people will ask this question, but do you always have to be nice? Can't you sometimes be not nice? What if the other person is not nice? If the other person is not nice, that is their karma, right? What is my karma? I have to be concerned about my karma. So let me keep doing the good. Yes, they will come to test me. Others will come to test me. At every moment, there is a test. Should I give or not give? Should I be nice or not nice? Shall I smile or not smile? Every moment, it's a test. But I have to keep passing this test. And when I keep passing, that's when I become powerful. Okay, so back to the power. The power is my virtue. The power are my thoughts, the quality of my thoughts. And of course, power is my connection with God. Because why are we soul brothers? It's because there is a God. There is the Father present. When the Father is not present, then we don't know each other. But now we know, we understand that we are soul brothers. Why brothers? Because there is a father, there is a mother, there's a supreme. So when I am connected with that supreme, that's the source of my power. And what am I doing in meditation? I'm opening up to that powerhouse. And for that, really, I have to first clean myself out. I have to empty myself so that I can be in a state to receive. And when I receive, then yes, I have the power to do anything I want. So power is very simple, actually. Power is recognition of the true self, connecting with the truth, the true one, in the true way. This is power. And then regarding Rakhi, I'm sure some of you know that in the olden days, you know, one queen used to send Rakhi to the king of the neighboring state. And by sending the Rakhi, what is she saying? She's saying that I make you my brother. And when she sends this Rakhi as a sister, then he dare not attack this kingdom because now his sister is there in the state next door. So in the olden days, Rakhi was also used in this sense, to win over others, to win over their trust. And then Rakhi, as in, I said, no, Rakhi is, purity is wealth, but purity is also health. Because when I'm having the highest, purest types of thoughts, who and what is it affecting first? And it's affecting me first. As soon as you have negative thoughts and waste thoughts, it's not affecting that person, it's affecting you first. Think about it. So again, you're justified. You think, well, they are not being nice. I'm justified to think like this. Okay, you can think like that, but you're damaging yourself. You're damaging your heart, your organs. That's why you get BP and stress and heart attack. And so it's not worth it, really. Having a pure vision, pure heart, pure feelings will benefit me first. Okay, so always keep that in your mind. And now I would like to talk about a few things about Dadi. So yes, Dadi, some of you might know that, well, Dadi was Dadi Kumarka, but her official name was Dadi Prakashmani. And she was called Kumarka because she was pure, as pure as a Kumari. And everybody felt this from Dadi, actually. And there were many sadhus. One time there was a conference that was held, and they had invited about 200 people, but only about 180 came. And out of these 180, many of them were, like one of them was very senior sadhu, right? Mahamandleshwar. And then he brought his high chair, because again, the custom is that, they have to sit higher than everybody else. Right? So sab apni unchi unchi kursi le aaye. And then Dadi happened to be there somewhere near the Baba's room or somewhere there. Like it wasn't the hall, it wasn't a formal thing. And so again, because their chela, right, their staff are going around holding this chair, so he can always be above the others. And so Dadi just said very lovingly, Yaha beto. Right? Sit here, sit next to me. And again, they're not really meant to sit next to women or on the same couch as the women. But just because of Dadi's bhavna, Dadi's purity, he just accepted and he just sat on equal, par with Dadi Kumarka. And at some point, this pallu had touched him, right? And so next day in his experience in the hall, he's sharing all this. And he's saying that I have never met somebody like Dadi Kumarka, like Dadi Prakashmani, and I can still feel her vibrations of purity. It just touched him slightly, and her sari touched him slightly, but it was her vibrations of purity that really, stunned him. And then there was another astrologer, and Dadi was standing, right, with her hands to the back, how like you hold them at the back like this. And so somehow he saw the palm of her hand. And this was an astrologer that again had come to visit the ashram. And he said, you have such an elevated future. You are going to become a princess. And he didn't know much about her. As I said, he just came to visit, but just seeing this, lines. And he said, you are a very elevated, both Mahan, Pavitra Mahan Atma. You're a very pure, elevated soul. So you can see how people who didn't know her, right, felt this way about Dadi. And even our spiritual teacher would say that Dadi's life is like a diamond, right? Ke aapka jeevan heera jaisa hai. Aap ek heera jaise ho. And that's why she was known as Prakashmani, which is called the jewel of light. So you can see what a diamond is like, right? Shining, sparkling, beautiful, has so much value, always spreading the light, shining the light. And really, Dadi was like this. I mean, I was very young growing up with Dadi, and because I was always with Dadi Janki, anytime, both were together, we were always in Dadi Janki's camp. But Dadi Janki would always tell us, go and meet Dadi, go and sit with Dadi. And I remember the times when we started going to Mount Abu, Madhuban, the headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris. And as soon as all the double foreigners, right, all the foreigners from abroad started to come, Dadi started to take so much interest in us. And she would ask all of us, are you okay? Right, every morning after the class, she'd say, are you okay? Do you have enough blankets? Do you have the right food? Because she knows we cannot eat all this Indian food all the time. And so then Dadi started to make steamed food for the double foreigners. She started making chips, right? This, what do we call it? Yellow food, so that we could feel that, yeah, we could have something, comfort food. And ice cream, then Dadi started to have ice cream made for us. So she wanted to make sure that we felt comfortable, even though we're not in our own places, but as much as possible. And I remember one time, the Australian brothers who used to come, Australian brothers are like Punjab brothers, you know, very tall and big. And so the beds were not long enough for them. And so then Dadi saw this. Dadi said, you look very tall. Do you fit in the bed? Like, she thought about it, you know, she calculated it. And of course, few of these brothers were very sweet, very humorous. And so they told Dadi that, yeah, well, our feet hang out and over. And so then Dadi had special beds made for them so that they could sleep comfortably. And then there's another story of, I just heard this the other day, actually, the story of, there was a brother in the ashram. And what happened is he went out to the fields outside in Mount Abu, and he started eating, climbing the tree and eating jamun. Right? Jamun is like these big grapes, but it's got a different sour taste, but very nice fruit. So he climbed up to eat the jamun, and in the meantime, he fell and he broke his leg. So when they brought him back, etc., and then Dadi found out that, you know, why had he broken his leg? And that was because he wanted to eat jamun. So Dadi said, no. Dadi ordered the jamun from the village, a few boxes, whatever crates, however it came. And Dadi said, every day Dadi will feed you jamun for as long as it's in the season. But nobody should go out and eat jamun, right? In case they break another leg. So you can see how, you know, caring, considerate she was. And then every time, you know, like somebody or Muni Ben would say, Dadi, let's send special toli to this one. Even Mohini Ben, yeah, Mohini Ben always, the little Mohini Ben that used to stay with Dadi, she would always have this thought that, isko achi toli bhej de, isko achi toli bhej de. Like, she'd have this thought, let's send something special to this center. But what would Dadi say? What would Dadi reply? Dadi would say, well, what about the other 8,000 centers? Right? And so then Dadi would always be unlimited and caring. And that's another story, actually, that once Dadi had got melon. And so she got offered melon, and then she realized that everybody doesn't have melon. So she told Munni Ben, I cannot eat this melon till everybody else gets some as well. And so then Munni Ben ordered melon, and the third day it came in a truck. And when everybody else got melon, then Dadi Kumarka ate the melon. So again, very thoughtful, very considerate. And as they say, yes, this is another story. Another story is that, yeah, there were two stories more. So basically, there was some dispute, and the local, whatever, DC or whatever, had come. And he was very annoyed at somebody from the ashram, what they did or how they did, whatever. And what Dadi Kumarka did is she went up to him and she folded her arms and she apologized to him. And many times, it's not just once, but I've heard many times how Dadi never had this thought that they made the mistake, why should I apologize? But Dadi would apologize on behalf of Baba's work, on behalf of the institution, that I'm sorry that this has happened, or, you know, I apologize, or we apologize, and that it won't happen again. So again, Dadi's humility in this respect. And then, yes, Dadi's life was like an open postcard. And this is what we are taught, actually, that our life should be like an open postcard and not like an envelope. And so what you see is what you get. And so Dadi was always very transparent, very clean, very clear. And even actually, if she had something to say, she would actually say it in the class. It's not that she would think something else and say something else. I remember one time when I was in Mount Abu and we were in morning class, and suddenly Dadi said, okay, who hasn't showered yet? Right? Because normally our system is that we wake up, we do our meditation, then we shower, and then we come to our morning class in the hall. And then there was one brother who stood up from the back. And Dadi said, Acha, okay, go and shower now. But again, in a very calm way. I mean, she didn't reprimand him and she didn't get annoyed. She didn't shout. Maybe some other guru might have shouted, but she made her point, and he was an example for us to learn from. And he was honest, and the way she handled it was with so much love. So this is our beautiful leader. And that's another thing, that many times, people are scared to go in front of leaders. But with Dadi Kumarka and even Didi, who was with her, everybody wants to be around them. Why would you want to be around a leader? Only because they're giving love, right? So this was our leader, and in her leadership, the organization grew the most, actually. So from 1969 onwards till 2007, Dadi Kumarka was in charge. So yes, Manoj Bhai, thank you so much.
Wonderful. We just felt it should just go on and on, but time is always the limit. But thank you so much for your wonderful sharings on the Raksha Bandhan festival. You mentioned about the virtue of purity, and we actually had a talk yesterday with Brother Eric from Canada, the Canadian coordinator, national coordinator. And a few questions were still there. And you mentioned about this group is all about virtues, because we do a lot of workshops and value talks every fortnight, rather every week, I must say. So there was a question about purity. The first question is there something called haunting spirits or evil spirits, and are they impure? Why are they haunted? Bhatakte kyun hai? That's the question. And how do we get rid of such impure souls?
Well, firstly, there are, I call them wandering spirits, right? Wandering spirits because they don't have a body. In other words, they left one body and they don't know what's their next destination. And so they're kind of lurking around their area because whatever reason, maybe it was a sudden death, maybe they are still attached. Actually, if you see some of the documentaries on the internet about reincarnation, you will see that most of them had a very sudden death. So in other words, they cannot accept that they are leaving the body. I mean, they had a sudden and tragic death. So maybe they got run over by a train, maybe they got a bullet. And so the soul is still not in acceptance that I have to leave. And there's still the hope that maybe I can go back to that body. So yes, there are wandering souls, actually. And what was the other question? How to
get rid of them if they are troubling us.
Well, I don't know how to get rid of them because I haven't had that experience. But I would say, from what I know intellectually, is that you speak to them kindly, politely, and you ask them to leave. This is what I remember from our discussions with our seniors. You don't engage in conversation, but you just say to them, kindly leave. But in a nice way. You don't be aggressive, you don't be nasty. And you tell them, you talk to them that they have to move on. And if that doesn't work, then I guess you have to get a Ghostbuster or something like that to help.
Yeah, great. Lovely answer. Another question I'll just take, I think that's the last one, and then we'll do some meditation with you, of course. At the Brahma Kumaris, this teaching is taught that having waste thoughts, I think you covered that as well. Having waste thoughts for self and for others is also a sort of impurity. So people are saying that we do understand thinking negative about others is not good. But can you please explain what are waste thoughts about self and others?
Yeah, waste is anything more than necessary. So let's say a very classic example, right? Especially with mothers. So in the morning they say, or they ask, okay, what should we cook today? Okay, you asked once, right? But if you kept asking this question, or if you kept thinking about it over and over again, then this is waste, right? So waste is anything above the average or above necessary. So like in a plate, you have enough food that you think you can eat, but if you have more than you can eat, that goes to waste in the account of waste. So here too, yeah, you think and then you decide. You see, this is where back to this. Like if I'm not constantly caught up in emotion, then it's very easy to decide, right? Because I'm here somewhere and I'm making good decisions all the time. So you think, what shall I cook today? You decide and finished. You don't have to keep thinking. So the reason why we keep having waste is because we're not deciding, right? So that's where the intellect has to be exercised with everything. Shall I go? Shall I not go? And even with a person, how should I see them? Right, I'm only going to see them in a good light, in a positive light. You have to decide that. I'm only seeing the virtues of this person, that's it. And once you've decided, then there is no, fluctuation between here and there.
Okay, great. Thank you. So shall we go in the meditation with you now on a little bit of purity and about Raksha Bandhan?
So I give a commentary for 5-7 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. And I'll play some soft background music. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay? Or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, just sit comfortably. Try not to hold anything, just completely relax the body. So first we still the body. And then we still the mind. So that means we just create one very powerful thought. So why don't we create the thought that I am a pure soul? And just as I have this pure thought, this wave of purity completely just flows over my whole being, washes over my whole being. And now I'm not only pure, but I'm also powerful. So I'd like you to feel the power within you, the power of goodness, the power of your clean heart. power of your clean vision. And that means I can look at anything and then only take in that goodness. And now I turn to the Supreme, to God, to that ever pure one. And once again, as I just stay under that light, I begin to feel that many of my sins are being washed away. God's light is the pure light that purifies the soul. And I begin to feel light. Light as in without burden. And once again, I feel I can fly. The soul can now fly freely. The soul is liberated. So just stay in this feeling of always being under the canopy of God's light. That is the fuel for the soul. And the soul is always free. So we come back to this moment. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much, Sister Aruna. And yeah.
Can I show you my surprise?
Yes, absolutely. I was wanting to ask you that. Just stop the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a big Rakhi.
Wow.
All of you. That's actually part of our decoration. And so yeah, just Toli. We have Toli for you, Manoj Bhai, and the class.
Yes. I'm sure it's of dates from the Middle East. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it chocolate or it's dates?
Yes, it's
chocolate.
dates, nuts, and chocolate.
Right. Yeah.
And it's gluten-free
Yeah.
and dairy-free because it's vegan chocolate. And well, this Rakhi for you, Manoj Bhai.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I accept it.
Yeah. No, and just the tray. I know the sister showed, but I had all this for you, but there's not time. And
that's fine.
so,
yeah.
Rakhi blessings. So yeah, wishing everyone a very happy Raksha Bandhan. Always stay tied to God. Yeah. And that's where we find our protection.